Peace, everybody. Peace, everybody. Peace, everybody. Thank you for once again tuning into another episode of Changing Life on the Spectrum. I'm Brother James,
And I'm Nicole.
and today we are excited because we have a very, very special guest who's close to our heart, close to the children's heart, and is going to be helping us to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been having a few grandparents that have stopped me on the street from seeing the sign on our truck, and they've been asking me how can they help their children on their grandchildren, excuse me, that are on the spectrum, and help their children in helping their grandchildren on the spectrum. And so, one of the best people I can think of to help give understanding to that question is my dear mom, my mommy, who has been there since the beginning and has been nothing but helpful and has been a person who has taken on a job and takes it on well and has helped us, has no problem helping the children, and looks out for all of us. So without further ado, I'll ask my mom to introduce herself to you. And she's a little shy, so she didn't want to be on camera. So please forgive that, but that's, hey, we understand. Everybody doesn't want to be on camera. But she has a lot of valuable knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to give to us today. So, Mom, please take it away and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Valerie, and I'm the grandmother of three children on the spectrum, and I'm retired. I'm a retired nurse.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And my mom has been a nurse for a good minute. My mom has been all over the hospital as far as different wards and things of that nature. So she has a lot of different angles and different experiences to um, look at things and approach things with. And that's one of the main reasons why we definitely wanted her to be on the show because she just has so much insight from so many different experiences and things that she's gone through herself. And she definitely is a person who has learned how to incorporate what she learns. And now, the first question we want to ask: what was your initial reaction when you were told that your grandchild was on the spectrum?
Well, my initial reaction was explain to me what spectrum is and what it incorporates. And you did that. And then we just took it from there. I just followed your lead. And one thing that I will say is that, initially, I mean, through the whole process, you if you put yourself there for support and in supporting your children helps you support your grandchildren, which means you have to trust your children as adults and as parents. And you really look to them for the guidance that will lead you to being an effective grandparent as far as children on the spectrum goes, because it's different for every child. Just like in normal life, every kid is different. So every kid on the spectrum is different on the spectrum. So you need a lot of input from their parents, and you just go from there and just be the best support you can.
Yes, ma'am. And you definitely have done
Yes, most
that.
definitely.
Definitely have done that. Can you tell us a little bit about any research that you actually did? Because I know that you definitely told us that you were reading different books and so on and so forth.
Well, yeah, I did. And the information that I found was very generic. It was very basic,
Mm.
and it was so broad that it just gave me a headache trying to sort through it. And
Mhm.
so that's how I knew that, okay, that's how I would take it. I would take that information as a base, but I would need the specifics to come from you guys and your research and what you were looking at as far as meeting the needs of your children, of our children.
Right.
And and that was it. I didn't go overboard because, like I told you from the beginning, I wanted to be grandma.
Right.
That was it. I wasn't trying to be doctor, nurse, or nothing else. I just wanted to be grandma. I wanted to be there to bring the love and the support because that's what children need. They need that little bit of extra because parents get tired.
Oh,
They
Right.
get worn out. They get worn out, and they need a backup. And that's what the role that I wanted to play. And I think once we sat down and talked about what it would all encompass and how much research that you guys were going to have to do, and how, just to me, just how mind-boggling that was to sort through, then I kind of saw then that that's what I wanted my role to be for you and the kids, was to be that soft landing, that quietness for all of you, because that's what you need when you're stressed. And sorting through that information to me was definitely stress.
Definitely.
we agree 100% on that.
Yes.
Most definitely.
And you've been a great support.
Well,
Well,
one of
good.
the things that I definitely thank my mom for is the fact that we were able to bounce things off my mom as we were learning, as we were coming up with plans and contemplating what to do. Talking to my mom was easy, and she had no problem saying, "Well, I see what you're saying, but did you think about blah 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 blah?" She had no problem inputting, but like she said, she's always stayed in a supporting role, not trying to commandeer anything, but always being able to put her input in in a way that just helps. That just helps sharpen how we look at things. There's been plenty of times where my mom has pulled me up. Um, now you do realize that they're children. All children go through this, that, and the other. And so sometimes that's what pulls me out of being super stressed out. It's like, you know what, you're right. Right. You're right. All the children, every child grows up going through this, that, and the other. So that was has always been something that's been helpful to me, and I believe Nicole.
Yes. Definitely helping us see, like you said, there is a lot of research and it can be very overwhelming. But helping us see the information from different perspectives and from a more holistic view has definitely been helpful all along this journey.
Especially since my mom is a practical person, so she keeps things grounded. So when we read all this research and it starts going way up high, she'd be like, come back down for a minute. No, sit down, as she's famous for. Let's have some snacks, have a tea, and let's talk a little bit. But
Yes.
I think you're going too far out there. Let's bring that down a little bit. She's always there to help bring things back into perspective, because we definitely have found out the more you research, this spectrum is so wide, encompasses
Yeah.
so many things that you
And I
definitely.
see I see why they call it a spectrum,
Yes, ma'am.
because it's so broad and it covers so much. But if it didn't, children would get pigeonholed into boxes that they really shouldn't be in.
Mm,
So also by the spectrum being as broad as it is, it gives the children room to be seen
Right.
as individuals
Yeah.
instead of little blocks in a box.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's easy to do. And in other episodes, we have talked about the labeling thing, having to
Yeah,
be careful with the labeling
right,
and not letting it stop you to from getting help, but at the same time trying not to just label every little thing. It's this, that,
right.
and the other, and blah 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 blah, and not
Hmm.
understanding the broader view of no, every child goes through this, so
Yeah,
you don't need to put everything under this particular label.
Right.
right.
Understand that
Yeah,
they're learning, they're going to go through things. Natural curiosity of a child is going to happen.
yeah. And you get to accept the child's individuality because all children, people tend to see them as little adults. They're they are, but they're not. They're not the same little adults. They're
Mm.
individual adults, just like we all are individuals.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see it sometimes when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're overwhelmed. It's hard to see that he's just being his self, and you want to squish him all into one little box, but he's not having it. So you might as well just look at it and just go with the flow. And sometimes you just have to apologize to them. And people think children don't understand and accept apologies, but they do.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That is definitely true. Um, just to mention to everybody, if you go on the site, I tell this little story about how it was my mom that helped me to understand Nikhil, because she was the one that was saying, okay, if he's saying something and you're not understanding it, but it seems like he's saying the same thing all the time, tell him, go get it. And that broke barriers, that helped me to begin to understand him and start to look at him as the individual that my mom is talking about right now, seeing that this was his quirk that I could begin to read if I looked at it the right way. So after she told me that, things started to widen as far as me being able to understand Nikhil, and I began to understand the truth of Nikhil. Giving an example, I used to, as any parent would, used to yell at Nikhil, "Stop jumping off the bed! You're gonna hurt yourself! Stop jumping off the bed! Stop jumping off the bed!" But it finally broke into my mind. He's not being disrespectful. He's living the truth that he knows. He has jumped off that bed 1,000 times and didn't even get as much as a cut. So for me to say to him, "You're going to hurt yourself," that's not a truth to him because he's done it so many times and never hurt himself. So, from his vantage point, the truth is, Dad, I got this. I've done this plenty of times. You haven't even seen most of the stuff that I've
Yeah,
done, and not
yeah,
hurt myself at all, Dad. Just calm down, Dad. Like, it's all good. It's all
Right.
good. I got this. But these are things that I had to learn, and it was my mom starting us off with that little tidbit of information of sending Nikhil to get what he's asking for because I couldn't understand what he was saying. And it all stemmed from that. And from that, there's been plenty of other things, plenty of other situations that we've been in that we have learned to pay attention to him. And that's why, again, the second thing that I put on the tips for dealing with children with autism, I said that you have to let them teach you.
Right.
It's not always about we as parents teaching them. We have to let them teach us because they're going to do them, regardless of whatever you say. But if you're open enough to understand them, look at them, recognize the signals, the signs, the characteristics, they are trying to tell us and teach us their story.
Right.
And a lot of that, again, comes from just that one little starting point of my mom opened up the bigger box for me to understand. And so that's what I do, and I strive to do with each of the three children is trying to understand their individual quirks and then trying to understand how to work with it. Not shut it down, but trying to work with it, trying to guide it, as they say in the RBT world, redirect as much as I can.
Right.
You have any thoughts, baby?
No, I fully agree with everything that you're saying. You know, they are still, and like your mom said, they are still individuals, with their own wants and needs and attitudes and beliefs about certain things. So, while they're not little adults, they're still individuals that want to express themselves in their own individual ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my mom is definitely. And mommy, if you can, after I say this, if you can kind of
Mhm.
explain it to the people
Okay.
how you are able to do it. My mom is always the one who can pick up on the subtle changes, and then she'll tell me. She'd be like, "Yeah, so did you notice the blah blah blah?" Oh, yeah, I see that he's getting a lot better and this, that, and the other. And the communication, I see he's coming out, and she'll tell me a lot of these little tidbits that, as she said before, as parents, we're just too tired. We got things to do, so we're not paying us so much attention. But my mom ends up picking up on things and ends up telling me about them. Can you kind of tell the people a little bit about how you do that, mom?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because you think about who do you gather information from about your children. When you send them to school, it's the teacher who sends back reports or notes or whatever. It's, their friends and other family members or babysitters that are always feeding you other information. So it was easy for me, and that was one of the things that I wanted to do, that watching the children, I always locked into what was going on. I would call you guys for updates. What are they doing? Are they doing anything new? What are they reading? What are they watching on TV? Because if I was going to spend time for them, I'd have to know about these things because they're going to be passing this along to me. What they always do, they're trying to tell me what they want to watch on TV, and grandma's going, what is that? How do I do it? But yeah, I would get lists of information from you guys. So to me, it was just feasible that I would just give feedback back to you. So a lot of times, because I'm not with them all the time like you are, I can pick up on other little things that they're doing based on what you have already told me that's going on in their lives at the moment. That when I hear them do the same things, and James, you would do that because you would have them tell me things or show me words or things that they've done because I read to them every other week. And then I started incorporating into the stories that I was telling. I started incorporating, weaving in things that they were doing and trying to draw them out. And it's first, it was like they were like, what? What? But then they started to understand. They started to bring more things to the table every other Friday on reading. Nasir started jumping in with his book, Pete the Cat. First thing, he was the first person on the camera. Whereas initially he wasn't. He
Right.
was in the background, like, what are we doing? What is she? Where is she? I hear her voice. Where is she? And then he would see me on the screen, but then he started getting into the screen. He would elbow the other ones out of the screen.
That's for sure.
McKeel would still stay in the background, but he would be talking. But McKeel has this way of he'll let the other one speak and he'll kind of mumble in the background. So I started calling their names and giving them individual few minutes to say something, to tell grandma something. And then McKeel started coming out more with whole sentences, giving me whole phrases, telling me whole thoughts of things that had been going on. With this past week when we were talking about the story I was reading had to do with swimming or the beach or something, and McKeel remembered something that happened. He's 10 now, but I think she must have been what, about 3
Oh,
when we
right.
put a
The
swimming pool
swimming pool.
outside. He started remembering that, and all of a sudden he said, "Grandma, I haven't been swimming in it seems like years." And it was like, yeah. But but coming from McKeel, that was like such a mature thought process
Right.
that he had gone back that far. And he started to tell me that he remembered a blow up pool. And it was like, yes, it was a blow up pool in the yard in the summertime. And he was asking me, and I think I sent Nicole a text saying that this is what the kids were trying to remember that time. McKeel actually did. Nasir might have been trying to form some thoughts about it because he was still standing there.
Mhm.
So I was asked, I sent a text to Nicole that if she still had some pictures of that, would she show it to them? Because they were trying to recall that time. And all 3 of them were outside and we had little pools for them and slip and slides.
Right.
Right.
So it's, yeah. So it's things like that is what we're constantly having conversations back and forth about. What are they doing and how can we update what they're doing? How can we bring out things to just see how far back can they remember? Into what detail can they remember?
Right.
Because sometimes children will give you the impression that they don't remember anything because they'll quickly go, I don't know,
Yes.
and but when you tell them, but sometimes when you just have to rephrase it because sometimes they're telling you, I don't know, because maybe at that moment they've forgotten. And then you'll say, well, think about it for a minute. It's in there somewhere and you have to recall it, and come back and tell me in a few minutes. And they will. But
Yeah.
sometimes we want the answer right then and we pressure them and we get annoyed that they're saying, I don't know, when it's, and we're trying to tell them, you do know, but their anxiety levels go up just as easily as ours do. And we think about how annoyed we get when people tell us the same thing over and over and we're trying to tell them something different.
Right.
Right.
So we share a lot of information that way about the kids, just trying to understand them where they are today. Because tomorrow could be different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've
But we just,
experienced that many times.
yeah, well, we just had to get
Absolutely.
through today.
Right.
So, and we just had to keep things calm, keep things going, and just let them know that, they're loved regardless.
Right.
Right. Well, they definitely know that because they always, where's grandma? But dad, we going over grandma's this weekend? Are we seeing grandma on Saturday? Is she talking? Is she gonna read to us on Friday?
Yeah,
Hmm. Daddy, come on, we gotta go see grandma.
yeah. Because we know we like to give them individual time. And sometimes I think that's what grandmas are good at too. Grandmas and grandpas is just giving them individual time. Sometimes they spend so much time with each other, with mommy and daddy, with their house, with the same things that sometimes they'll tell you that too. I just need a break.
That's
Mhm.
true.
I think McKeel has said that a couple times. I just need a break. And I would just, that's when I was coming to like pick him up and I would tell him, well, you're getting a break today. You're going on vacation for a day or so with grandma. And he would have his bag packed ready to go, saying goodbye to everyone. And that was that.
Yeah.
That is
But
absolutely true.
yeah, but with
Absolutely.
even with Nasir, which we didn't. It's only been recently that we started to see him come out more because he found a space that he could call his own, and that had to do with Grandpa taking him downstairs and showing him this old turntable that the speakers were crackling and everything, but it was a record, and the process of putting a record on a turntable and turning it on just did something for Nasir and made him remember where it was, who to get to go and use it, because he would go and get Grandpa, come on, let's go.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
mommy and grandma had nothing to do with it. It was
Exactly.
grandpa and daddy. Go
Yep.
downstairs, and he wanted everybody else to stay away
That's
Yes.
true.
because that was his space.
Right.
He actually
And
did
we
that
and we
Saturday
and
too.
that was a thing. That was a thing for us that day. Look at him.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Absolutely.
Because Doug, James, for so long you wouldn't let him go anywhere near the stairs, remember?
Right.
You would go, come back, don't go down. And it was like, he can get down there. He knows how to, he'll get down there. He'll be all right.
Mm.
And so, he knew it's dark down there, so he need to turn on a light. And I think remember the first time McKeel said that? It's dark down there. I'm not going
Yes.
down there.
Yeah.
So sometimes just a different space, a different atmosphere, a different aura, a different feeling, it'll bring something out of them that you'll get to see the kid for that day, the individualness of that child. And you'll see where he spent all this time, and he was locked away from you, but he knew where he was. Because I say all the time, Nasir knows exactly what is going on and what he can get away with and what he can't.
Most
But, be,
definitely.
but because he doesn't say anything, or he says it in a way that it's like another language, we don't understand it. That don't mean that he don't understand. And
Right.
sometimes you just sit there and watch him for a minute, and he'll figure it out. Okay, she's watching me. I can't do that right now.
Right.
Oh, he is definitely the one who pays close attention to things. He got
Yep.
sharp eyes, man. Definitely has sharp eyes.
Yes.
So, mommy, can you tell us a little more about, as we talked about before, the grandparent zone? Can you help the our grandparents understand that one of the biggest things and one of the greatest things about being a grandparent is that you can create this zone where everybody can kind of get what they need, and like you said, as individuals, as groups. Can you talk a little more about setting up the grandparent zone, so to speak?
Okay. I think a lot of it has to do with the individual grandparent. I think we were talking about this last week, James. We're not all the same age. I'm an older grandparent. I was 60 when McKeel was born. There are grandparents who are younger, have more energy, different, all grandparents have different interest levels. Their mobility is different. They may be retired, they may be still working just as tired as you are at the end of the day. So
Sure.
you have to look at it from that standpoint. I think grandparents have to be honest with themselves
Mm,
as far as what what do I have to truly invest in this situation that we have here, because there's no sense making promises to do things that you can't follow through on, because then that it creates just turmoil right there in yourself, in the parents, and in the children, because you stretch yourself too far. So for me, it was being honest after we sit down and had the conversation about what this spectrum was, what it was going to mean for our family as far as taking care of the children and seeing to their needs. Because I think one of the things that I think I've shared with Nicole was that I was going to treat them like I would treat any other child. Not, I wasn't going to be looking for differences and trying to pigeonhole the kid because he was, on the spectrum. No, I want to be the grandmother that just loves them unconditionally and treats them unconditionally as my grandchildren, with love and respect for who they are.
Right.
Right.
So I had to, and that's the way I kind of set it up. And coming up with a plan as to what was I truly going to be able to do. I'm not good with computers and stuff like that. I'm older, so I don't have a lot of energy sometimes, but the energy that I have when I know that they're coming, everything else stops. It's all about the children. I don't answer my cell phones to anybody else. I do the TV. It's all about what the children want to watch. There's like a toy store over here. We got lots of things to do, and
Yes.
I'm always trying to keep up with Nicola's. What are they into now? So we have all kinds of coloring books, crayons, pencils, whatever, so that we can have something of a new experience. And I'm always trying to think of other things that we can do that I'm capable of being a part of.
Right.
So, and then I share that with Nicole and James, and then we try to work out something that's going to work well for all of us, like taking a walk, or Nicole and I have been to check out playgrounds to make sure that they're clean, they're safe, that they're going to be good for the kids. We've
Yes.
taken them to movies when we the last time that we went that were appropriate for the kids, that had enough space for them, that we weren't really crowded. We're just talking about how we're going to tell them that this is what we're going to do, sharing what our expectations behavior wise is for them. And it just being honest with ourselves and with the kids. And we have not had any problems with them out in public. They know what's expected of them. They just know. We've talked to them about it. And it's the same behavior that we have at home. It's a little bit freer, but it's basically the same wording
Right.
that we use. And we're still updating that as they get older. We're still exploring more things. Because I think 2 weeks ago, I had them outside and I was teaching them one, each one individually, how grandma cannot run. So when we're out, we're going to be moving slow. We're going to be walking. But if grandma calls your name, what do you do?
Right.
And I would tell them what I wanted them to do if I call her name. Then I practiced it. And if I called, what I told them was, if I call your name, you need to stop right then, turn around and look at me.
Yep.
Mhm.
And they all knew that, and it worked. We still got a little ways to go with Nasir, but that's okay. He still did well, considering that he
Right.
wanted to get in the car. We weren't trying to get in the car that day, but
Right.
it worked out. But they all, by looking at them as individuals and looking at what their skill levels are for that day, what skill levels they have built on up until this time, we work with that. And so we don't treat them all the same. So each child has to be taught to individually,
Right.
because
Right.
their understanding is individual.
Right.
So And those are the kind of things that we share. So it's a loop that we have of
Right.
information that goes round and round. And you got to have a level of trust to do that, you know. So, I trust what they're sharing with me. And I trust that if I give out some additional information or just a thought that I have or something that I've seen, that it's going to be taken in the spirit that I gave it, which is just sharing information, not trying to, take over anybody's role or step on anybody's toes, just sharing information. But we have that relationship. We had that early on between the three of us.
Yeah.
Right.
So it made it easy for us not to have hurt feelings. I don't think we've ever had any hurt feelings. We always knew that we were just sharing information, and it
Right.
was it was working.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It
So
definitely has worked. There's no question
so
about that.
yeah. So for other grandparents, it's like, with your children, with your family, sit down, like James is saying, have a cup of tea, have a couple cookies, but
Right.
sit down and come up with your own map of how you want to do this, how it's best going to work for you. For you, it's individuals coming together as a group to take care of the children, and that the children are the priority.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am. And
And then work it from there, and being honest enough with each other to say that, well, I can't do that, and it'd be okay. Nobody's gonna, chop your head off because you said you couldn't do something.
Right.
yes,
Well, at
ma'am.
least with us, it's that way anyway.
Right.
Right.
Because
Yes, ma'am.
there are some things that it's like, I don't think I can handle that, but I can do this. So
Yeah.
come up with alternatives, and you can only do that by having the conversation with each other. What would you like from me? Sometimes you shouldn't put it as what do you want from me? Because you might bite off more than you can chew. But it's
Right.
like, what would you like from me? And then that gives you, a little bit of space to say, well, I have an alternative. Can I give you this instead of that?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then everybody is nice and calm and settled, and then that works well. You'll see that energy transfer through the children.
Right.
Right. That's definitely true. That is definitely true. And like my mom and I were talking, the grandparent zone is truly necessary. I mean, whether you have children on the spectrum or not, it is
Hmm.
truly necessary
Yeah.
because we all need a space where we can just have peace, have fun, kind of
Hmm.
quote unquote let our hair down
Right.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
my mom has always been good with that because ever since she found out about the children, she was always like, well, look, if y'all need a break, then just come on over. And then when we come over, mommy would buy us lunch, and then she would tell us, no, no, you sit down. I got the children. You sit down.
Yep. Take a nap.
They take a nap. They got their little zone. They know where they go because
Yep.
it is true that each child chooses a space in grandma's house
Yes.
where they go individually, and then
Hmm.
there's another space where they can come together when they want to. Because
Right.
sometimes they just don't want to be around each
Very
other.
true.
Yeah.
So, but grandma's house creates that safety zone where that can happen. Because, like my mother was telling me, and as she said earlier, the same it's not the same limits as when they're at home. Grandma has told us, I'm grandma.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the loose one in terms of the restrictions and this, that, and the other. When they come over here, just let them have some fun. Just go. I mean, now my mom's no pushover by no stretch of the imagination.
Right.
She will discipline you if necessary, But she's always been one to try to give you chances to understand what you've done wrong and then give you a chance to correct yourself.
Right.
And she's always been that way.
But at the same time, the children do know grandma does not play.
Yes, timeout is real. And I
Yeah.
don't mean them timeout. My mom times out the toy. You no, I'm gonna give you one more chance. Now, if you don't do what I told you, okay. So the balloon gets mishandled, the toy gets mishandled. Okay, well the toy and the balloons are going into timeout. And they know that when grandma says that, it's real. Oh no, the toy is gone. And I don't know if she's gonna give it back.
Yeah,
So grandma's zone is like that. It's not as restrictive, but it's not just do what you want. They know
right.
better than that.
Right.
Well,
But
for one thing, they always know, and that was something I taught them early. Grandma hears and sees everything. And I always told them that.
Yep.
And in the first, of course, they're not going to believe it. It's like, how can anybody see and hear everything? But what you do is you do tune yourself into it's too quiet. What is he
right.
doing?
Right.
Oh, I heard a bump. What is he doing? Is he
Mhm.
in there jumping on my bed like a trampoline? And the funny thing is,
Mhm.
I would come and I didn't yell. I just stood in the doorway and waited for him to get that last jump, and he was halfway up in the air and saw me. And then it was like, uh-oh. And it's like, yeah, I
Mhm.
told you I see and hear everything. So stop doing it because I
right.
don't want you to fall and hit your head because I don't think you want to go to the doctor today. And
Right.
so they go, okay. So
Mhm.
sometimes, grandmas, the freedom of being grandmas that we've already done our yelling. We don't have
Mm,
to do that anymore.
Mhm.
right.
Right.
That is
There's a
true.
mom and dad that's already there that can get stressed and raise the voice. We don't have to raise our voices anymore. And
Right.
that's the beauty of grandparenting, that unless there's an emergency, and kids always know that if grandma or grandpa raises their voice, stop, because something is happening,
Right.
Right.
because they usually don't.
Right.
So, and you can always teach kids all kinds of cues like that. I remember growing up, my grandmother, all she had to do was look at you a
Mhm.
certain way,
Right.
Mhm.
and you knew what was about to happen, could happen, might happen if you didn't change your ways.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And she never said a word.
Yep.
So it can be done, body language.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Most definitely. Well, to kind of wrap things up, mommy, any parting advice, any last words that you want to say? Um,
Yeah, you know what? Just everybody, just do the best you can. Just do the best you can. Because if you're doing the best you can, you're doing something.
right.
And then just be open to doing it better. And sometimes you do it better by listening to someone else and taking some little tidbits of advice from here and there and making it your own,
Yes, ma'am.
making it fit your circumstances. Because sometimes you read the book ain't about your house.
Right.
So
Yes,
sometimes you
ma'am.
got to take what's in the book and make it fit your house.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've always been a strong one um, to say, learn the principle. That's the
Mm,
bottom line. It's
yep,
not necessarily you got to follow the book to the T, but if you understand the principle, then you can apply it to your life, your
right.
circumstances, your situation.
Yep.
Because I definitely am one. I had this conversation with my mom. Um, some of the ABA stuff was like, no, that doesn't work here.
Right.
That doesn't work in this zone.
Yep.
We're gonna have to tweak that a little bit
Exactly.
because that don't fit the bill around here.
That's
Right.
right.
And
Absolutely.
And that's why I definitely wholeheartedly say, definitely learn the principle. Listen to what the person is saying. Listen to what the tape is trying to show you, the video, but mainly walk away with the principle, because you can tweak that.
Mm-hmm.
Our circumstances is not everybody else's circumstances. As my
Yep.
mom said, there was a lot of respect from day one. Day one, there was a lot of respect between the three of us, and we all had the same thing in mind. We want what's best for the children. Nobody's trying to stand out. Nobody's want to just be in control all the time, or none of that type of stuff. All three of us just focused on how do we get our children where they need to be productive, and to be able to live a good life.
Yep.
That's it. That's what
That's
I
it.
focus on.
That's it.
That's it. Just giving you what you need so that whether we are here or not, we can know that we imparted the knowledge that you need to be able to survive on. No, not survive, live on your own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm about. I just want you to be able to go out in the world with whatever quirks you have and be able to still live your life and be abundant, be prosperous. What you
Yep.
I agree.
I agree too.
As usual, we're all on the same
Place,
page.
all on the
That's
same
that's
page.
right.
And that's what makes the children be as successful as they are. I was telling Nicole last night, and we'll end with this. I said, baby, I think we brought into existence some overachievers.
Yes, you did say that.
I said because y'all know that we homeschool, and when I ask the children to write sentences and things of that nature, I'm looking for, see the cat run. Billy's over there. That's not McKeel. McKeel's going to make a complicated sentence that's going to be like, well, Bill sat over there, and while he was there, he saw a bunny who was moving across the grass, and he'd be like, son, we're on a time clock here. Can you please? That sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And his sister, Ayana, who is 6, is pretty much in the same boat.
Yes. Yes, they are.
It's going to be a long sentence.
Exactly. Well, it's going to be a story from Ayana.
Right. It's
Yes.
going to be a story. It's going to be a story.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thankful. And I've learned that I'm trying to balance it, because I will say this to every parent. Try not to shut down your child.
Yep.
Because when they're really expressing themselves, you can see that there's love, there's passion. I mean, they really are into what they're into. You could literally crush their dreams, their hopes, everything. You can literally
Mm-hmm.
crush them if you handle it the wrong way. That's why I said earlier, learning from ABA, learning redirection was key for me. I'm still in the process of learning. I'm nowhere close to mastering, but we have to learn to redirect and not just shut down. And that's for all children,
Right.
on the spectrum or not.
That's right.
Shut them down too hard, then they'll just take it in, and then you won't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you'll wonder why when they get older, they don't accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm.
We won't realize that it was us. We crushed
Right.
them.
Right.
And they didn't have any other recourse. That was what they really loved. That's what they were into, but we shut it down too hard.
Yeah. That's true.
I just got to tell y'all that, because I've seen it done, and I've had to catch myself sometimes. Like, oh, wait a minute, no. McKeel loves to draw. He loves to play Minecraft. That was part of the reason why we made the McKeel ring, was to show him doing the things that he loves to do, and that artistic children, they definitely have talents.
Yes.
Because he, unbeknownst to us, he was watching videos on how to do what he was doing. But nonetheless, he's mastered. He knows how to tell you to like and subscribe. He knows how to, introduce with a lot of charisma and so on and so forth. We didn't teach him that. He just does it.
Right.
So just saying all that to say that don't crush your child. Try not to crush your child. You know,
Right.
sometimes we try to make our child us and live through them. That's not the right thing to do. If they're showing you something that they're really passionate about, safeguard it. That's their little plant. Help them grow their little plant. Guard it. But at the same time, let it grow. Help them to make things happen and show them the realness behind it. So you got to let them fall sometimes. You got to let them go through the rigors of life. But then we'll get them where we need to go. And, you know, that's been the focal point of my mom, Nicole, and myself, is trying to get our children where we need them to go, or we want them to go, but also where they are striving to go. Right. Because like mommy said, Ayana would definitely make some stories and she's good at it. Yes. Nikhil would definitely draw and play Minecraft until the cows come home, if you let them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but they also show us that they learn from these things, though. And that's another reason not to shut it down, because they'll learn more. And next thing you know, mom, I'm gonna say this and then we'll definitely close it out. I was telling mommy early in the early stages, yeah, mom, I can't wait till, you know, to hear them talk to each other. And mommy was like, be careful what you wish for. And I bear witness that, wow, sometimes, boy, they can just go and be out there. You be like, I didn't remember teaching you that. Where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Yep.
Their minds sponges. They go with their individual way. Because right now, you got Nikhil and Ayana. They just have this thing where it's like they making up storylines. They're doing their whole animal thing. They what's it called? What's it called, baby? What, like the
role
group
play?
Role play, and they're like groups of animals.
Oh, the pack?
Yeah, the pack. Yeah, the pack.
Yeah.
They I mean, and they just run with it. You don't have to say anything to them. They
know.
wake up with it and go to sleep with it.
Mm-hmm.
Making up their own little things.
I know.
So,
But you know what? They just talking it now. Wait until they learn the written word. And I was telling you, Jen, like last week about that. Wait till Ayana can truly write a story. Then you better have some money in your pocket for some books and some paper and some pencils. Yeah, she gonna wear it out.
Yeah.
This is true. She's always trying to draw on something, whether it be the word cards, even the actual schoolwork. It's like she can't leave it alone. She's got to make it her own some type of way.
Right. Put extra pictures on there.
Right.
Personalize it. The Ayana way.
Yeah,
definitely the Ayana way. Definitely.
Nothing else will do.
It's going to have her signature. That's what we're saying. Her signature is going to be on it.
right.
Whether you want it to be on it or not is not the issue. It's just going to be on it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we hope that we've been able to shed some light on things, give you some good guidance, and as always, we always say we're not doctors, but we're just here to give you all what we're experiencing, and just whatever we're learning, we're trying to pass it on, because I couldn't stand the fact that a lot of the grandparents were coming to me and they were asking me, well, what can I do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That kind of hurt, because I know as a grandparent, that's one of your biggest things, is to be able to help your grandchild, especially if they're in any type of bad situation. But to be unable to have to kind of stand and watch, that was why I had to bring my mom on. And I'm just thankful that she decided to go ahead, because she wasn't sure what she wanted to do it or not. But I was just thankful that she said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna share my wisdom, because she's been so influential with us and our children and us having the type of success that we're having. So we hope that everything that you've heard is going to give you some type of help in some type of way. And with that, we'll all say peace.
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 Peace, everybody. We thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And we thank you for tuning in and giving us your time and energy for changing life on the spectrum. If you would like to leave us an email because there's something you want to see on the show or any information that you may need or want to request, go to changinglifeonthespectrum@gmail.com and just drop us an email. And if you want to support the show, we ask you to support the nonprofit that brings you the show, which is McKeel's Path for Autistic Triumph, by going to www.mpfat.org and hitting that donate button so that we can continue to help our families dealing with autism, and we can continue to help them by changing life on the spectrum. Thank you and peace.